What is up, YouTube? Today we are going to make a lifted go-kart. For the longest time I've been trying to figure out what I can do with this go-kart frame. If you've seen my videos, you've seen that I did originally this go-kart frame had a 5 horsepower motor on it. I upgraded it to a 6.5, this thing was fast as fuck. It was really fun to drive, but the tires that were on this thing just burned out so fast. I ended up buying new ones. Those burned out really fast, and they weren't cheap. They weren't cheap tires, so they just burned out on this thing. I don't know why, but so I ended up, once those tires burned out, I just didn't replace those tires. I took the motor off, took a couple things off, and I just ended up throwing this thing behind my shed in my scrap pile, and didn't really know what to do with it until one day I was like, I have that frame, I have these giant tires, let's put them together and make a lifted go-kart. So for the past week I've been collecting a bunch of stuff. I went to my scrapyard place recently, or last week, and I bought all this steel for $25. $25 for all this stuff. I'm not entirely sure how much it would be brand new, but I know for a fact that it would be well over $100 brand new. And I got a bunch of this stuff, which is like a 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch, and a bunch of this 1-inch tubing. And the cool thing is about this stuff is it's 1/8 of an inch thick. So they don't even sell this stuff at Tractor Supply. You get 1 inch, you get this stuff. Where is it? You get this stuff. It's like paper thin. Welding it's like a nightmare. Especially with my MIG welder, this burns right through it. So this stuff is definitely awesome. I definitely want to go back and get a lot more. This was only $25, which is amazing for how much steel there is right here. So I'm definitely gonna want to go back and get more. So I definitely have enough steel to make this thing. So what I'm going to do before I do anything, add any anything, I definitely want to extend the frame out a little bit and widen the frame just a little bit, just because this thing is going to be so big, there's no way I can fit it in any of my sheds. So why don't we just make it as big as possible? So it's already so big I can't fit it, so let's just make it as big as possible. So the motor we're going to use is from this. Now I'm ashamed, I am going to take this thing apart. It did take quite a beating. Me and Ryan, we were beating this thing up, or actually Ryan was just beating this thing up. I was just the cameraman. He was beating the shit out of this thing, and the motor survived. The intake air cleaner did not survive, but that's not a big deal. I have another one. Believe it or not, this thing still runs strong. I am going to clean the carburetor out, take the oil out, put new oil in this thing, all that kind of stuff. But this thing still runs really strong. It is a 12.5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton, so this thing does run really strong. The clutch, or the gearbox I'm going to use is from that old really big trike that I made. That really stupid idea that I made and ended up almost killing me. So this thing, I believe, is 5 gears plus reverse, and I'm going to take this off, put a pulley on here. The clutch is going to be like a riding mower. It's going to be like a pulley system, and that tightens up and loosens up when I go and not. So I already got the battery. I have these shocks I got from that moped that I bought at the scrapyard place. I also have a bunch of bearings. I am one short. I need to buy another one. But these, I only have 2 of them, which is kind of bad, but I need to buy 2 more. These are gonna go just like this on the front, and then I'm gonna have 2 more exactly like this that are gonna go on the back. The bad thing is these are rated for like 250 pounds. So because they're straight up and down, and because there's no really, they're not really set right, so therefore there's gonna be, what is that, 250? So that's it's gonna have to be 500 pounds put on this thing just to move the springs. So because these are 200, is my math correct? I don't know. Hopefully it is. So these are rated for 250 pounds. There's 2 of them on the front. So that's 500, is it? Yeah. That's 500 pounds. That's going to have to be put on the front just to move the springs. That's a bad thing about these things. So, plus they only have 2 inches of travel. So, the front end and the back end is only going to be able to go up and down 2 inches. So, that thing's, really bumming me out, but not really much I can do about that, but just use these for now, and then once I probably finish this thing, and then I'll probably buy or invest in some real shocks that have, some pretty good travel, or I could make some. I don't know, I could probably make some. Excuse me. So yeah. First things first, I want to take the seat off, take the steering wheel off. I'm gonna chop the rear axle off, I gotta chop this thing off. I'm probably gonna just cut it here, and this is where I'm gonna extend the frame. I'm definitely gonna want to cut this off, cut these off. I'm not really sure how the feet pedals are gonna go. I don't know. I'm really just I don't really have a plan with this thing. I'm just gonna wing it and see what happens. That's what I do with all my projects, and seems to work out just fine. So yeah, I'm not really sure how high this thing is going to be or how wide the tire distance is going to be. I don't know. I'll just kind of figure all that stuff out as I go along. So I am definitely going to want to put a roll cage on this thing. I don't know if I said that already, but definitely have enough steel to put a roll cage on this thing. I would not want this thing rolling on top of me. It would probably kill me. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I definitely got a little carried away, chopping the frame up and removing all the stuff I don't need. I ended up just removing everything except the square frame and the handrails right there. So those I left on, and I also extended each direction 8 inches. So it's 8 inches right there, 8 inches right there, 4 inches and 4 inches because I wanted to leave that rail right in the middle, right where it was. So yeah. Definitely took a lot of stuff off. Took basically everything off, but no big deal. Just put it all back. So it would have actually been harder if I did leave it on because I am extending the frame. It would have been harder to extend it. I would have had to, So it's just a lot easier starting from scratch. So yeah, that's done. Next step is to find the exact center of the frame right there, and then build a box right there, just like lifted trucks have. So hard to explain, but it's going right there. So should be simple enough. Okay, so I extended the frame each direction by 6 inches, and I also built that box right in the middle. I still need to put the top things on there. That's where I'm gonna mount the seat. So that thing is if you look at a normal lifted truck, you'd see like it has a box in the middle. I shouldn't call it a box, but like, a square thing, and then there's these struts or whatever arms that go from that down to the shaft or the axle of the front end and the back end. So that's what I'm trying to go for. It's kind of hard to explain, but that's what that's there for. So the next step is to just figure out how wide I want the tires, and then just start building the front axle. And I already built these things. I made them very heavy duty. This is like a 1/4 inch steel. I have no idea, but it looks like a 1/4 inch. But very beefy welds. So definitely not going to bend or anything. So that should be good. Next step is to figure out exactly how far apart these should go, and then exactly where how I'm going to connect them. That's going to be the next challenge. So hard to explain, like I said, but it's, trust me, it's all working out good. It's working out. Okay, so wow, I've kind of gotten a lot of work done. since the last little clip that I made. I almost got the entire front end done. I was trying to explain what I was trying to do, and it was really hard, but this is what I was doing. It's these arms go up from here to here, and therefore it makes it deflect without making that front end do that. So there's two of those, and whenever that goes up and down, it stays straight. So therefore, and there's shocks that I'm going to use. I already put them on, so they work great. If I sit on them and bounce and like jump on this frame, they deflect. Is deflect the right word? I don't know. They bounce up and down. I don't know if deflect is the right word. I don't know, but so they work just fine. Right now they're hard to push, which is a good thing because I'm gonna add a ton more weight on this thing. So therefore, they should be perfect. I did buy new springs, shocks. These are it. These were on sale from BMI Carts and Supplies. These were on sale for $9. They were originally like $23 or something. And these are rated for like 350 pounds, which is good because I'm going to use this for the back, and the motor is going to go on the back, plus the gearbox and all that stuff is going to be incredibly heavy, so therefore it's good that these are rated for a lot higher weight. So if I like jump on these things, they don't deflect, which is good because the motor and the weight of me on this thing is going to be very heavy. So these are gonna have to support them. So those are gonna work great. I've been working on this. This is gonna be the back end of the go-kart. Drilled these holes for the bearings, and one there, and I actually just finished drilling these. Still gotta cut them in half. These. 2 each, so there's gonna be 3 bearings here, 3 bearings here, so 6 bearings in total. I'm not gonna have, you know, both the tires connected with one axle. There's gonna be 2 axles. It's gonna be cut in the middle because this gearbox has a differential in here. I want to still be able to use that. So this tire is going to have this axle, and this tire is going to have this axle. So therefore, that's why I have to use 3 bearings each. I do not want this axle to bend or break or anything. I wanted to use a 1-inch axle. I know a lot of you are going to say in the comments, use a 1-inch, but this is 3/4. So this is 3/4. So I can't do anything about that. So just don't bother saying that in the comments about I need to use a 1-inch axle, because 3/4 inch axle works if you do a lot of bearings. So that's what I'm doing, and it's gonna work just fine. Alright, so next is what is next? I have no idea. This is all just a really complicated project where I'm just going at it step by step, and just hoping that it's not going to be like all of a sudden, oh shit, this is not going to work, and I just can't figure out how to make it work. So hopefully it's going to work out. Hopefully, I still have no idea how the fuck I'm going to mount the motor and mount the gearbox. I do know that I want to have, I actually went to Tractor Supply and bought over $100 worth of sprockets and pulleys. I bought this thing, I bought these 2. These are going to go on here, on this thing, and then I bought this one, and I have this one. It's worn down all the fuck, but it should work just fine. So I have that, and these are gonna go on the shaft right there. Why I'm doing these small on the shaft, that one, and these big on here is because this differential, you turn this a lot and these turn a little, so therefore I don't want this thing going as slow as a regular riding mower. So therefore I want this thing to go fast, so therefore I have to go from a big sprocket to a small sprocket, and then from the motor from a big sprocket to a small sprocket. So therefore it's actually going to have some speed to this thing. I'd want this thing to be fast but not too fast. So that's why I'm doing that. So I have these. I only have one hub, but they don't have another one, so I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with that. But the brakes are gonna be homemade. which is fine. They're actually really good brakes that I've figured out how to make. So it's basically just a pulley. Is this a pulley? This is not a pulley. It's a, what the fuck is this thing? This thing. I'm having a brain fart here. This thing is gonna be on the axle, and then I'm gonna have a 7/8, I believe, belt on here that's stationary. One side, so this is going to be spinning this way. This side's going to be locked onto the frame. Then when I hit the brakes, it's going to be pulling it this way, just like a band brake. And it actually works very well. I used it on the black go-kart, which is actually this go-kart. If you've seen my other video, I used that brake, and if you tap the brakes, the wheels just lock up, which is awesome because these are huge tires. And this thing's going to be heavy as fuck, so therefore it has to have really good brakes. There's two brakes. One's going to have one, this one's going to be on this wheel, and then this one that I bought at Tractor Supply is going to be for this wheel. So there's going to be two brakes, one for each wheel, and so it's going to work just fine. So these are going to be really good brakes. They just look really jankety, really redneck. So which is fine because I'm a, so. Alright, so next step is, I don't know. I don't really know the next step. So, probably just gotta cut these in half and then figure out where the fuck I'm gonna position them. Figure out how the spacing in between the center, and then figure out how the fuck I'm gonna attach this to the bottom. Just like the front, only I can put a motor on it. So yeah, this is kind of a really big project I'm taking on. I have no idea how the heck I'm going to do this thing. I'm just taking it as I go along and just hoping everything works out. If it doesn't work out, I'm just going to figure out a new way to make it work, and just hoping that this is not going to just turn out to be a giant project that just didn't work and I just end up scrapping. So yeah, it's coming along really slowly. Okay, so I got the frame almost done, which is a pretty big accomplishment. The shocks aren't on yet. I just kind of tacked those things up there just to kind of hold it in place, just to show you what it looks like. And right now this thing is massive. It barely fits in my garage, and probably doesn't look it on camera, but this thing is pretty damn big. So I'm not sure how big it is yet. I'm not sure the wheelbase, or otherwise I'd say the dimensions, but I'll probably say that in the next video. So yeah, a lot of time took for drilling each holes, because think about it. Each of these, I'm going to call them struts, because I don't know what else to call them. Each of these struts had to have 6 holes drawn. 3 on that side, 3 on that side. So if you add them all up, 2 struts there, and there. That's over 50 holes. Plus that one there, 2 there, 1 there, 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, and then I have 2 other plates right there for extra bearings. So a lot of drilling, a lot of time at the drill press, but definitely worth it. This thing is awesome. So the next step is to figure out. I'm not entirely sure if I should figure out where the shocks are going first, or where the gearbox is going first. I don't know yet. I may put the gearbox in and then put the shocks, so the shocks will be out of the way. So, and then once I get that done, then I can figure out if I'm gonna mount the motor on the frame or I'm gonna mount it on the struts. So I don't know yet. It makes more sense on the frame, but if I do it on the frame, I'm gonna have to lower it a lot. I have no idea. So that's the next step. Yeah, and also one other thing. I had an idea of taking these 2 bars right here. I was originally planning on just setting the seat on this thing. What I want to do is cut it right there, and there, and then do some kind of thing where it goes out, down, back out, and back up, and set the seat on that, so therefore the seat's a lot lower, so therefore it doesn't look like you're just sitting on top of this thing. I want it to actually look like you're sitting in it, so that'll make it so the roll cage will be not as high, so it'll just kind of make this thing have a lower profile, because right now this thing is tall. It's like, I believe, 2.5 feet the seat would originally be, so I'm going to try to make it 2 feet. So just to give it, so it doesn't roll over really easily, because right now it doesn't. This thing's just massive. So I want to have it as low as possible while looking really tall. So yeah, got a lot of work done. This is the end of part 1. Part 2 is going to be transmission, motor, do the shocks, do the steering wheel, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, awesome project. So thank you for watching, subscribe, and have a nice day.